digital census, but you don't do it within 2 weeks, and then you come back. I'm saying it because you raised an important issue, and I will draw your attention to this, gentlemen, so that we can also address it. I recall that after the 1991 census exercise, when the results were then announced, the Guardian newspaper did an editorial. And on the editorial board at the time was a very well-known mathematician and Marxist scholar, Dr. Edwin Madunago. And Madunago made the projection and made the calculations and said that these were mere projections and not actual numbers, which again would say, look, this is what we want to avoid. Let people not just say these are projections that we are making, to say, look, these are the actual figures, these are actual numbers. So, as the saying goes, make haste slowly, so that the integrity of the census figures will not be impugned. Dr. Jalingo.
Yeah, the processes that we are adopting, and they are verifiable processes. And that is what I'm saying to say every time, that the digital platform provides you opportunity to verify what you are doing. Today, by the grace of God, the National Population Commission in its geospatial database has touched every building in Nigeria. It has never been done before. When we mean touch, that means we'll be able to tell you that what is that building used for. We'll be able to tell you that this is the location of the building within the space of Nigeria, because we have the geo coordinates. So a lot of things that we never imagined that will happen are happening with this census. This database that we have has won us an award internationally because of its value. It tells every building in Nigeria what it has. So the digital platform has provided limitless opportunities and for us to conduct the census. Unlike before, I am privileged to have worked in two data processing centers after the census. I know in 1991 I was in Enugu, 2006 I was in Enugu Data Processing Center. I know the process it took us. It took us about 3 to 4, 5 months to process this data. But things have changed. We don't have to carry questionnaires like we used to carry. Even to bring out questionnaires from the vehicle to the DPCs, it took us more than a month in 2006 and 1991. But this time around, all the enumerators will carry is their tablet. They get the maps on the tablet without necessary provisioning it within 30 minutes and 1 hour. That map will guide them to where they are going to go and work. And that tablet will not allow them to work outside the space in which they are going to work. So where we are thinking about overlap and all these things are not going to take place anymore. So a lot has been done for this census, a lot of improvements in terms of the processes, the methodology we are using to make it better, and also so that Nigerians can verify. We'll be able to tell anybody that within our space of Abuja that, look, in these enumeration areas, out of 30 buildings, an enumeration have done 10 buildings in the first day, 20 buildings in the second day. All these were not possible before. But now you can do it. All these are opportunities of digital platform.
Dr. Jalingo, thank you very much. I would imagine, for instance, gentlemen, that probably the easiest part of it, what does the Commission hope to do with the head count and housing enumeration in conflict-impacted areas?
Yeah, we have what we, like you have said, 99.4%. So we have those areas, and we call them hybrid enumeration strategies that are going to be adopted for those. And these are tested strategies internationally, and whereby there are methodologies where those areas we can get information in. We have contacted those states, and we are liaising with them on what methodologies we are going to use. And the conflicts sometimes are also varied. There are areas of boundary conflict, there are areas of war conflict, there are areas of insecurity. So all these areas we have all the informations, and we are talking to all the stakeholders. We have a strategic plan of operation on what kind of method we are going, what kind of hybrid method we are going to use to enumerate. In some of these areas whereby there is border, we are going to use enumerators that are not in conflict with the areas, neutral enumerators. Some will come from Abuja. So there are different areas with different kind of problem and which we have all identified. We have developed a strategy for that, which we are going to adopt, and that is in consonance with the state and also in consonance with our offices. And these are things that have been done even in Afghanistan, where most part of the country is in crisis, but still enumerations are done in all these hard-to-reach areas. So that strategy has been developed, and we are going to apply it to ensure that everyone is not left behind in this census.
What is the nature of this hybrid census you'll be conducting in these conflict-impacted areas? Again, I think it's useful for you to clarify this, because that's where some skeptics just might take off. You say you're already in touch with the states. Just give an example. This is what we intend to do, and this is how we intend to do it. Did you seek the views of other stakeholders to say whether this is acceptable, or did they make suggestions, or you are imposing the hybrid strategy on them? It may have taken place in Afghanistan, but we don't know the environment in which we are operating.
Like I told you, it is a consultative process, and it is a process that is internationally used for areas in conflict, and it takes a lot of things into consideration. You know, we like using the mapping, the satellite imageries. We are able to map all these areas whereby you have conflict, like Abadan, that we are unable to visit physically. And so we are leveraging on whatever the situation is. If the government is going to provide security for us to visit those areas, we are ready to visit. If there is no security, there are methodologies that are used, and it involves a lot of methods, even the telephone communication, and a lot of modeling is done to ensure that that is done. We are working with Grade 3 and University of Southampton, which are very well knowledgeable in this act of population estimation using the hybrid technology. So, and it is not something that independently we decided. It's something that we involve the stakeholders to take a decision on what kind of method do they want us to apply in those 0.6% areas that have these problems.
All right, Doctor.
And also remember that we did a first pretest, we did a second pretest, we did a trial census. Our trial census, strategically, we decided to do an end-to-end trial census. The local government is the operating unit for the census. We picked 6 local government areas from each geopolitical zone. And if you can remember, we took brass from Bayelsa State. It's not an easy. Imekafo that we took from Ogun State is also not an easy local government area. So we did that strategically to test our system end-to-end. That is from the beginning of data collection to streaming and to analysis. And that we have done successfully, and it gave us some source of comfort. And again, despite the fact that, yes, technology can fail, but you have to take care of every possibilities. We have not left everything unturned. When we got our tablets, we did not intend to test them 100%. But because of the outcry in the country, we decided to test run our tablets. Each one of them, we have to power it on before it left Lagos, just to be double sure that we don't get surprises. And after we have done about 160,000, we just had a problem with 16. And we are ready to, okay, the percentage is so minimal that we can tolerate. So this has also, yes, put us also in the alert, and we are working round the clock to ensure that we get it right.
Okay, talking about getting it right.
Yeah.
We also know that logistics is also a major issue when it comes to, programs like this. Earlier, Dr. Yetunji talked about 869 billion being, put aside for this particular enumeration. How much has the Commission gotten so far? And then I just hope that those who have been, I think you have done a process to get those who are going to go on the field for you to do the enumeration, the actual enumeration, and other things as regards the census. Do you have all that you require at this time? Because it's just 27 days. It's important to know. He said that you've been preparing since 2013. How prepared exactly are you to ensure that there's no issue of logistics or whatever it is, and we don't get to see people, protesting maybe in the middle of the census, talking about not being paid or whatever it is?
Yeah, we have looked at it, and that is the advantage of doing a trial census. That is the advantage, because you look at the systems. we realized that the system that we have used for the payment of functionaries for our training and for our trial census will not help us to deliver on the census. Already the Minister of Finance is on top of that to try and ensure that we use a system that is going to be more improved to be able to pay the field functionaries. So I think government is not unmindful of the little challenges that we had, and government is doing everything possible. The minister particularly is in charge of making sure that the payment system that is going to be used for this census is perfect, and that Nigerians, after they have worked, they will get their money. And that is what we are working on with the Federal Ministry of Finance, with the Accountant General Office, to ensure that payment system that will be deployed for the census is watertight and proof, that we don't have the kind of problem that we had with previous payment systems that we are using. You know, the whole thing, our intention, our plan was just to ensure that with a click of a button, you pay all the people that have worked for you. But you know, you have to verify, have the people actually worked? And you don't just go and pay people that did not work. So all these things, we have been putting them into perspective, and the commission is not taking anything lightly. I can tell you, every day we meet from 5 p.m. every day to review all our processes, and this meeting is led by the chairman himself, and that meeting lasts up to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, irrespective of the fact that it's Ramadan. And this is to show you the kind of commitment and zeal we have to ensure that we deliver a very accurate and reliable census to Nigerians. Okay. So the commission is very mindful of the enormous responsibility that is placed on it, and is doing everything possible to ensure that we get the census that we'll all be happy that we have done it.
All right, Dr. Jalingo, thank you.
You made mention of the fact that people are going to be counted in their houses, not in their workplace. And, you know, that's why we talked about the restriction earlier. I want to know how you intend to enforce this restriction. Because we know that, yes, for civil servants, yes, they could stay at home. It's a public holiday. So, I mean, they don't have any business being at the office. But for private business owners, some of them will still want to go to their shops, you know, their, whatever it is that they do, you know, just to get something moving. So how do you intend to enforce the restriction, just so that you can actually get people to stay in their houses so they can be counted?
You know, government makes a law, and we can see from the previous restriction of movements, it's not us to restrict people, but it's the government arms that have the power to do that, does that. And again, census is a civil process. You know, we that have done previous censuses, and we know sometimes we find out that the communities are calling you, come and count us, come and count us. So we expect that the level of sensitization of the people on the need for them to be counted is going to be very high. And we expect that people will cooperate with whatever government's directive is to remain at home and to be counted within these days. The advantage of doing that is to ensure that people are counted in the places of residence, in their usual places of residence where they stay. And I can tell you from the past censuses, we have never had issues with those restrictions. And we are hoping that people will still obey the government as they have obeyed during the elections and other government declarations of holidays for certain national events. So we are hoping that that will happen. And in addition to that, there are a lot of mechanisms. Like we, as much as possible, we tell our enumerators that they are going to work within the census days. And we don't normally have a opening time or closing time. And that is how we have what we call callback cards that we leave. For people that have to go for an essential assignment, like your colleague is saying, he has to be in the television station to make sure that the work goes on. Definitely he will not be 24 hours in the station for 5 days. There's going to be a window in that space of time, and our enumerators will definitely make an appointment with him through his family or the people that are staying with him, that, okay, what is the best time that we are going to meet you? And that callback card will be left for him, and the enumerators will try to come back at that time that is more convenient for him to come back. That is for those people that are on essential duties that have to go out. So as much as possible, we would like to enumerate people in their usual places of residence, because the data that we are going to get is for national planning. And we want to place every person to where he stays, the building he stays, and where within his own household. So all these informations of everybody will be getting. And again, it is also to verify the process of the census. If you are not counted, it's all like before. Now we'll say, okay, look, we have counted you, you are in this household, you are in this building, you are living in this area, and this is your information. So basically, we are hoping that everybody will be counted, and with the callback, with the 5 days period, and even with a mop-up period of about 5 days, where there is any problem of not counting people within the prescribed periods. All this, we have never done a mop-up before, but now we have introduced mop-up, where there is genuinely issues that we cannot count the people, to ensure that every Nigerian is counted within the census period.
I was just wondering, what are the, I know that there's a 24, you said a 24-hour cycle, but at what time should citizens tell us? You've recruited some 800,000 persons. I reminded them of some of these ones are ad hoc staff. How well trained are they for this exercise?
Okay. Okay, talking about training, we have done series of training to prepare all the people that will train the enumerators, which is the local government training. We're here to train that number. We have trained about 64,000 people now, who are going to be trainers of the trainees. So, and we have prepared them, and in addition to that, you know, looking at the fact that we are using digital equipment and all these things, and from the experiences we had with the trial census and the third pretest, we realized that we require a specialized workforce. That specialized workforce, we have started their training presently, yesterday, and we just want to make sure that in every class we have one person that is well trained to handle all these gadgets. And we are giving them special training, both online. We started with online. We have started the physical training now. And these are our special task force that we're even going to use for the actual exercise at data quality assurance officers. In the event that you have any problem anywhere, they can be at hand to help with the equipment. So we are very mindful of that, and that is why we are giving those specialized workforce special training. They are going to be in each of the classrooms of the 20,000 classes that we are going to use for the enumerators and supervisors training. Across the country. In the training. And this crop of people are people that we have got from the ministries, agencies of government, and we have given their age range, because most of them, the young ones, are more ICT savvy and are able to manage this equipment very well from what we have done. So the Commission has done everything possible to ensure that a very effective training is done. And we are looking at putting all these materials in videos and all these things for enumerators to relate with them. Right. And ensure that they are well educated on that. And for the first time, we are putting 3 facilitators in a class. Both the 1991 census and 2006 census, which is maximum of 2. We are putting 3 with 1 that is a specialized workforce.
Means you're better prepared now. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Yetunji.
Areas. I know IDP camps, of course, are clear, but from time to time we do hear of some of these things. We say, look, maybe a local chief will say, bring the enumerators, let them come, and then we'll have them in my palace to count people. Would there be special enumeration areas?
No, we don't have what we call special enumeration areas, but we have mapped all special areas that that requires mapping, like people that are sleeping under the bridge, like people that are on the rigs, like people that are on the fish camps, like the Fulani cattle rearers, you know. Unlike before, now these ports are mapped. So we know on an EA that you have this kind of population in that. And so the different strategy are adopted to ensure that they are counted.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Jalingo. Because of time, I think we'll leave the conversation at this point. I'm sure, you know, in the coming days, 27 more days, would be able to talk more about the census, just so we can get people enlightened about all the issues. Once again, we thank